Hello folks, welcome to the Edupedia world, and I am Abhinay Gupta. Today again we'll continue with the topic, the appointment and qualification of directors. Right? So in our previous lecture we have seen the removal of director by the shareholders of the same company. And before that we had seen all the various kinds of appointment, may it be about the additional director, alternate director, filling up the casual vacancy, or appointment by third party, the financial institution, appointment by the CG, and all the other sorts of appointment, right? And in the previous immediate preceding lecture, we had seen the first removal, that is the removal by the by the shareholders of the company. Today we will again see the other two types of removal. The other two bodies that are entitled to remove the director from a company. That is the Central Law Board, the Company Law Board, right? The removal by Company Law Board, which is as per section 402 of the Companies Act 1956, and the removal of the director by the central government as per the provisions of section 388B to 388E of Companies Act 1956 again. So before this we had another section from Companies Act 1956. Do you remember that? We had dealt with section 408 of the Companies Act 1956, that was about the appointment of directors by the central government, right? That was the first section we dealt about, we dealt from the old Companies Act 1956, right? And today we'll deal other two sections from the same act. Now these sections remain applicable for your May 2016 examination as per the latest notification by the institute. Right, and no new sections from the Companies Act 2013 have been declared for the same topic. Right, they have not been notified by the institute for your examination purpose. So again today we will be discussing about the removal. So let us first review and in brief, in just 2 minutes, cover up the removal of directors by shareholders, section 169. We'll just have a quick review and then move ahead. Right. So over there we saw that the members would send a special notice to the company and the company would forward the same notice to the director. What would the director do? The director would send a written representation to the company and request to circulate the same to the members before the meeting. Right, and that should be circulated along with the notice for the extraordinary general meeting. Then the company would apply a check before such rotation and before such circulation. They would check whether the written representation is defamatory. Right, and if it is found to be defamatory, no copies of written representation would be sent forward, right? And the director would bear the company's cost that is incurred for application made to the Company Law Board, right? And the written representation would also not be read in the meeting of the shareholders that will be conducted. But if it is not defamatory and if it is okay for the company to send it forward, then the company would state the fact in the notice of the general meeting that we have accompanied a written representation by the director whom we are planning to remove, right? And they would also send the copy of written representation along with the notice, and if they are not able to send the representation with the notice due to some delay or something, then they would read out the written representation in the meeting. Right? And then the shareholders would hold the meeting and decide whether or not to remove the director. So if the OR is passed, right, in support of the motion, that is for disqualifying or removing the director, then the director would vacate the office and he would not be reappointed. Right? And that vacancy would be filled up in the same general meeting by the shareholders. And if they fail to do so, it would be filled up as if it was a casual vacancy by the board of directors. But a word of caution that board of director will not be allowed to reappoint the same director who had to vacate the office under section 169. Right? And the new director who would be appointed would hold the office for the remaining tenure of the vacating director. And also that the vacating director would receive the termination compensation as per the terms of its appointment. Right? So that was all about section 169 that we had seen. Today we'll move ahead to section 402 from the Companies Act 1956, that is the removal of director by the Company Law Board. So for removal of director by the CLB, an application has to be made to CLB. An application will be made by the members. Now again you have two categories. One is the company in which the company has a share capital, right? So for the companies with share capital, at least 100 members would send the application, or at least more than 1/10 of the total number of members in the company. Nothing below that would be authorized to send the application to the CLB, right? And for the companies without any share capital, the limit is not less than 1/5 of the total number of members, right? And then they would send an application for claiming the relief to the CLB, right? And what would they claim the relief from? They would claim the relief from operation and mismanagement, right? That this thing is going on in the company. And these limitations and these application criteria had been set by Section 399 of Companies Act 1956, right? Then when CLB receives the application, the Company Law Board would inquire about the matter, and if it is satisfied, it would pass necessary orders, right? They may pass an order, and the order may provide that any agreement with the managing director or any other director of the company would terminate, set aside, or be modified as per the requirements of the CLB, right? And that is to suppress that operation and mismanagement for which the application was made to the Company Law Board. And as a consequence of termination, setting aside, or modification of the agreement, the office of the director would be vacated, that would fall vacant. The director would not be entitled to any compensation, and he would be disqualified for the period of 5 years. So he would not be entitled to act as a manager, managing director, or any other director of the company for a period of 5 years, right? But he could do so if he receives a permission from the Company Law Board to be reappointed. But the Company Law Board also would give that opportunity to the director again after having a consultation with the central government, right? They would give an opportunity of being heard to the central government. They would hear the central government and then decide whether or not this director should be allowed to take back the office of the director or the managing director, as the case may be. And here the director who has been asked to vacate the office could appeal to the High Court only on the question of law. Otherwise, the act of CLB cannot be appealed to any court. And the next section that we have is Section 388 to Section 388E, 388B to 388E, that is the removal of directors by the central government, right? So this is the third category of removal that we are seeing. We have seen removal by shareholders, we have seen removal by the Company Law Board, and now we'll see the removal of directors by the central government. So the central government may send this application to CLB or make an reference to CLB only if it feels that the situation of fraud and negligence exists in the company. By fraud and negligence, we mean that the managerial person is guilty of fraud, misfeasance, or he is guilty of default in carrying out his obligation and functions under the law, right? Or when we talk about the breach of trust, so if the managerial person is also guilty of breach of trust, CG could make an application to the Company Law Board. A reference could also be made if the business of the company is not conducted in accordance with the sound business principles and practices, right? If there is an instance of imprudent business practices, right? Then we talk about the damage to industry, the industry in which the business operates, or we talk about the unlawful business. The CG can make a reference in case of unlawful business practices by the company too. By unlawful business, we mean that the business of the company is conducted with an intent to defraud either its creditors or its member or any other person, or in any manner if it is prejudicial to the interest of the public, right? Then the CLB would pass the interim order initially and then the final order. So when the case is pending, right, then the Company Law Board may pass an interim order, and that will be passed only if an application is made on this behalf by the central government and that the interim order is necessary for the interest of the member or the creditor or to protect the public interest in general, right? Now, what are the two kinds of orders that can be passed? So the interim order would include an order directing the managerial person not to discharge certain of his duties. They will not be allowed to discharge any of its duties actually. And then when he is not allowed to discharge his duty, the other order is an order appointing a suitable person to discharge the duties of the managerial person. Then after passing the interim order, the Company Law Board shall hear both the parties, and both the parties are the central government and the managerial person, right? And after hearing both the parties and after considering the situation, then the Company Law Board shall give its decision. right? And that decision as to whether or not the managerial person is fit and proper person to hold his office. As per the order, they have already instructed him not to carry on his functions, right? And some other person has already been appointed to carry on his function. Now in the meantime, they will get into this discussion, they will hear CG and they will hear the managerial person too, and then decide as to whether the managerial person is fit and is the proper person to discharge the duties. If so, he would be allowed to continue, right? And then they will give out the final order. Now after the final order is given, there are certain actions to be taken over by the CG. So the central government would then remove the managerial person after the order for its removal has been passed by the company law board. And the person who is removed shall not be entitled to any compensation as per the termination of its agreement. And that person will not be allowed to hold any similar office, right, in that particular company for the period of 5 years. But this provision for disqualification of 5 years could be relaxed by central government again, but for that they would require an approval of the the company law board. And then any other person would be appointed in place of that person who is removed, but for that approval of the central government is very important. So central government would approve for getting that vacancy filled up, right? So that is all about section 388B to 388E. Right? We have covered the procedure for removal of a director by the central government. So again over here we see, like the appointment, in case of appointment we saw that it is a combined power of the central government and the company law board. Similarly, while removing the director, again the CG and the central law and the company law board will work hand to hand and follow the following procedures, right, to remove a director from his office. So that will be all for the lecture today. We'll continue the provisions of the other topics in the continuing class. So until then, stay tuned. This is Abhinay Gupta signing off. Thank you. Bye-bye.